Right, guys, just a quick one here, but I thought I should say something about Nigel Farage stepping back from politics, or at least stepping back from leading the Reform Party into the local elections and beyond. Of course, the timing of this move would be baffling, but I kind of expected it. As some will have noticed, over the past few months, Farage has mainly been seen as himself, not representing the Reform Party. That said, to me, he planned to leave and explained why we had not heard him beating the campaign drum in recent months. Now, it cannot be stated enough that what he did in relation to Brexit, no one can ever take away from him. He certainly put in a shift, pressuring for that, and helped bring about the kind of Brexit that we have now. Obviously, it's not perfect, in fact, it's far from it, but we're not in the EU, and leaving it seems to have come at the right time. Disaster is not the word over there right now in almost every aspect of everything at this point. But him pressuring the Tories, especially under Cameron and Maybott, forcing them to shift their positions and actually bringing them both down must never be forgotten, because that is what he did. His pressure, along with UKIP and members of the now well-known ERG, forced Cameron into having a referendum, which brought about the people defeating Ramoning shitweasels in that referendum, and Cameron stepping down like the cuckolding coward that he is. Then we had the Brexit Party's explosive entry into politics back in early 2019 that lit a fire under the Tory backbenches, culminating in the European election result, making Nigel Farage's Brexit Party the largest single party in the European Parliament and giving us this little gem here.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.
That victory for Brexit and defeat for the Tories left Theresa May with no option but to pack her bags and fuck off out the door, crying her eyes out, likely from the shame of being sent packing.
I will shortly leave the job that it has been the honour of my life to hold. The second female Prime Minister, but certainly not the last. I do so with no ill will, but with enormous and enduring gratitude to have had the opportunity to serve the country I love.
These are things that can never be taken away from Nigel, and in fact may deserve a knighthood for them. Many unworthy fuckpigs have been given one in recent years, so I would suggest he actually deserves one for Brexit and his service there. Now, of course, he is not perfect and has said some questionable things like backing Tony Blair and deluded shit like that. But as I've said before, people we agree with on some issues will not agree with us on every issue, and nor should they. That is an extreme leftist viewpoint in my mind. Demanding conformity of views like that is consistent among politically correct tosspots, race-baiting fuckpigs, and the rest of these scumbags that we call out almost daily. The purity spirals involved in that is a dangerous way to go and will only end up isolating respective groups into smaller and smaller, ideologically aligned groups ignored by almost everyone. Diversity of opinion and thought is a great thing, unlike the diversity pushed upon us almost every day at this point. Don't ever expect to agree with someone 100%, and in fact it's almost dangerous to do so. But I'm sure 99.9% of yous are smart enough to know that yourselves. Now, back to Nigel himself and stepping down from Reform. Do I think this will be the last we see of him politically? Of course I fucking don't. He will be back to fight some corner at some point, I expect. He will be active on social media as he stated in his video, and we can expect to see him on TV no doubt from time to time, hopefully not supporting Tony Blair's lunatic ideas in future. Now, I feel I should point out once again, if I didn't already, the demented timing of this move by Nigel, with local elections coming up in a few months. He could have led the party while not going for a seat himself to step down after the local elections. I'm sure that's what his supporters would have wanted. This would have helped the party itself out a hell of a lot more also, so the timing is certainly questionable. If you ask me, he could have done this in January rather than the start of March, but maybe he just decided this week. Who knows, we will have to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. Either way though, it appears Nigel has gone from active politics at this point, likely preparing to evacuate this demented country that we currently live in. He has the means to do it after all. Naturally though, we will all be here fighting it out to the bitter end, because what choice do we have?
We're off.